My safe word will be whiskey.
Sorry, Rod, what was that?
Whiskey.
Ooh, sexy. Yeah. Hold on. I don't know why I'm giggly right now.
It's the late night recordings. There'll be a lot of giggles tonight.
What are you doing, Sean?
Which one?
Oh no, both of you are leaning right into the.
Well, I'm writing down. Like, I gotta write down the start time.
I think we already started. Yeah.
I'm
wondering what the 10th whiskey is. We only have 9 on the list.
It's
this should be the intro. This is the intro right here.
Okay, wait. Okay. Hey, everybody. Hey, how's it going? This is Steve from the Lost in Dramslation podcast. I'm with fresh haircut Sean. Looks like an Irish island.
Hey, what's up?
What did they do to your hair, Sean?
It's been in a hat all day.
I don't think you're talking about your hair, but I think he's talking.
Were you
about
wearing your hat
you don't
really
have
high
hair
when they shaved your head? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
It's a classic bowl cut.
It was like Geordie now. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, Sean and Travis, you guys are here too. How are you?
I am pretty okay.
Sean, at this point of the night, okay, we've interviewed 2 people or three people today, and I just want to let everyone know that Sean McCalder he's really at the gripping stages of tonight. He's gripping his glass and he's moving it around a lot. So this should be a fun podcast.
He's also switched out his foam finger lock guard for every single interview that we've done today.
This is the 4th foam finger.
He's blushing that you noticed.
The sound quality through those foam fingers is fucking incredible.
It really emphasizes. It just helps you enunciate better when you have a foam finger to talk into.
There's no
at
all.
No
P's or hard S's.
No. Zero.
Okay. As interesting as this chatter is, Travis is trying to do a Sean like squeaky cork pop, but we're so today we are it's March. It's I don't know, Sean, you must have like a real humid room where like all your corks are there, or do you tip your bottles lots to get that sort of effect?
Just the ones.
You don't have to answer it. Nobody really cares. All right, it's March. It's Irish Whiskey Month. It's Sean Kincaid Month. This is where we all celebrate the Irish warrior, the Dark Cloud. It's actually the only month of the year the Dark Cloud is not dark. He is a white, sunny cloud. Is there such thing as a sunny cloud? I don't know.
Rainbows.
On the top of the cloud.
You're rainbow cloud. That's your new name for the.
I love that rainbow.
I can go with that. But we are going to talk about Irish whiskey today. Not like we don't talk Irish whiskey enough, but it is legitimately a month of Irish whiskey, St. Paddy's Day. So we're going to go over, what are we going over today? We're going over the 10 Irish whiskeys to start your collection with, basically, right? We're going to go over affordable Irish whiskeys. We're going to go into the, I don't know what, just under 100, and then some top shelf options. But
yeah, some like possible? Entry level, some mid range, and some high end. Yeah,
just what we came up with collectively that would be good to get into Irish whiskey, of all of its different formats.
Yes.
To be fair,
a suggestion. This is what you need to do, because we get
a shopping list.
We get commission on all these sales. Yeah.
last St. Patrick's Day, my Irish collection was not where it is today, and it's because Sean basically just said, "Go buy this, go buy this." So now we're doing a list of the 10 whiskeys, and I find I have like 7 of them because Sean told me to go buy them. I just don't have the expensive stuff that Steve's telling us to buy. But
you're a reformed whiskey drinker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am.
And Sean is your minister.
And these 10 whiskeys are gonna reform other people. They're gonna go buy these Irish whiskeys, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, Irish whiskey isn't what we thought it was, and that's what this podcast is all about.
It's a special category though. Like there is a lot of like we talk a lot of the cost based yum or yum based cost kind of thing. And if you want to pick a whiskey category that has a lot of good value buys in it, the Irish category is full of them. Full, like fucking bursting at the seams, full of delicious.
We easily could have made a list of 25 whiskeys that all.
Okay, let's not get carried away, Sean.
You could have
had a hard time picking
25.
10.
I'm looking at 25 of them right now.
But we're trying to narrow it down to 10. We're not listing every Irish whiskey you can buy to start your collection.
They're all essential. Okay, they're all essential.
If by next
Here's a list of every Irish whiskey
Currently
available in Alberta.
on the Alberta market.
Yeah, like let's be honest. Like Travis has 7 of them, and if we do this podcast next year, there maybe be 9. That's it. Well, he's not going to have 20. Just kidding. Anyways, how do you guys? You just want to roll? Let's roll right into these. Travis, you want to start off?
Yeah, let's get started with one of the first ones I bought for last year's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm on to my second bottle. I just was at Keg and Cork this week because they actually just they've created a Irish whiskey section. It's a couple shelves, and the guy asked me, he's like, which one of these do you like? What do you think? And I immediately pointed at the Killbeggan single pot still. It's the one with the red label. Did a little bit of research because with some of these Irish distilleries, it's still a matter of you're finding out if they're sourcing their whiskey or if they're making it on their own. What I did find out is Killbeggan, although it is owned by, is it Cooley? Owned by Cooley?
It's a Beam
yeah.
distillery.
Beam, but Beam owns Cooley and Cooley owns or something. They own the production rights or something. It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
But the whiskey is actually, this whiskey is made at Killbeggan Distillery, and it's single pot still. So it has oats in it, which is back from an ancient recipe. It's actually the oldest distillery in Ireland because they actually kept their license up over the years, even though they haven't been making whiskey. But this recipe is an ancient pot still recipe, and it's got 2.5% oats. But when you drink this stuff, you can tell there's oats in there. There's a cool, creamy cereal note that it's unmistakable when you drink it, which for me makes it a must for a starter Irish whiskey collection, because you need to know what single pot still is, especially with the oats in it. And this isn't triple distilled. This is twice distilled whiskey. So immediately you're going away from that common, Irish whiskey, smooth, triple distilled. This is not that. This is a lot more. So that's my pick for one of the 10 whiskeys.
It's funny because when anybody asks me about single pot still, and if they want to try any single pot still to get that, the true Irish spirit from it, this is obviously the first one I point to. There's a couple other ones that are on the market in Alberta now that I will point them to as well. They're not masking any of the single pot still essence with cask usage. They're using, virgin oak or ex-bourbon, just allowing that single pot still spice and mouthfeel and creaminess to stand out. So yeah, I love that one. Obviously, there's a hashtag Kincaid for Killbeggan for a reason.
Kincaid for Killbeggan, and it's $65.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Put it on the list. There's not many people that are going to look at $65 these days and say that's too much. So definitely a good place to start.
It's a quarter of a tank of gas nowadays. Like, don't drive anywhere. Go buy some good Irish whiskey.
If you drink a bottle of it, you can just walk wherever you need to go. You'll never notice the trip.
No, I don't really
remember it. Yeah,
I don't walk very often. Sean, who wants to go next? Sean McCalder?
Yeah, sure. I'll do next. Probably, I think I've talked about this before. For sure I have, but one of my favorite Irish whiskeys and very approachable and accessible is the Writer's Tears Double Oak, which is a blend of single malt and single pot still. and also double matured in American oak barrels from Kentucky, and French oak cognac casks. So yeah, this is definitely one of my top Irish whiskeys. It is triple distilled as far as I'm aware, and this is clocking in at like $75 maybe, at the high end of the price point, and it's just a beautiful whiskey. Like, and it comes in at 46%. So that's a bonus, I guess. But it's just a really well executed, and that cognac influence is just a wonderful experience. It takes you on a journey.
I know we've mentioned this before, but a lot of the Scottish distilleries that release a double oak, it's always usually ex-bourbon and ex-sherry. So when you see double oak on here, you actually have to read the back, because it'll tell you it's ex-bourbon and then ex-cognac, which is awesome. We've obviously seen some cognac finished Irish come through recently, and we all picked it pretty high, the Bushmills cognac finish, on our year-end review. So Irish whiskey and cognac barrels seem to go really nice together.
Yeah, I would like to do a side-by-side with this and that Bushmills, just to see. I got both of them, so maybe I'll do that. Sit down and do that one day. Not right now, though.
Do it blind.
Yeah.
And this was your Irish Whiskey of the Year, Sean, right, for the podcast?
I believe so, yes.
And it's I don't know if you mentioned this, but triple distilled.
Yeah, I did mention that.
Did you mention that? Sorry, I missed that. And
okay.
great packaging too. I mean, they're nice bottles. The box is good for $70. Can't go wrong.
I like the
Writer's
branding
Tears
on Writer's Tears.
Yeah, Writer's Tears was honestly one of the first. It was one of the first whiskeys that I bought in a price range higher than like Jim Beam or Jack Daniels. Honestly, I felt like I was pretty cool back when I was like 20 something, buying a Writer's Tears bottle because my dad told me. Like they've always released some really good whiskey.
And Writer's Tears was what pulled me into Irish whiskey, along with my second selection, which I'll get into later.
It's funny you mentioned the packaging, because when I was on my trip and not even huge into Irish whiskey at all, we were in County Sligo, and where not James Joyce. Anyways, one of the famous Irish authors is buried, and we went and visited Yeats. It's Yeats country. We went and visited his grave, and then we had lunch in a pub. And the first thing I noticed was this. It looked like a book, and it said Writer's Tears. And I'm like, well, that's cool. But it was on like a liquor shelf. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And obviously being in that area, and then coming to find out that it's a whiskey. And that was actually like a gift box that came with 2 glasses and a full bottle in it. And I just recently got the mini one today, actually. So yeah, it's cool. Like it catches your eye and makes you want to look at it further, which is so cool.
Nice. Steve, do you want to go you and then maybe Sean do too, because he's obviously doing way more than the rest of us here?
Yeah, Sean's got his own 10.
Plus an honorable mention list.
Yeah, we might be here all night listening to Sean. It's not like everyone's been bludgeoned with Irish whiskey chatter from Sean Kincaid over the years. But is that the right word? Is that even a word?
That is a word, yeah.
That is? Okay.
That's a fair assessment of what he does to all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a top 10 bourbon episode, Steve, and you just pull out all 100 bourbons you have on your shelf there and just list them all off.
It'd just be a reel of just showing bourbons. That's it. But I haven't bought very much bourbon. I don't buy it as much as I used to, but I also, since COVID, I haven't been to this. I'm usually in the States 4 times a year. I haven't been there in a year. So, anyways, I would say like one of my favorite Irish releases from this past year, and which is more than affordable. I think, I don't know, like everything Wine and Morris had it for around $80, I think, is the JJ Corry, the Gale. And Sean and I, this bottle has resonated with me, especially since we interviewed Louise with JJ Corry, and just like listening to her level of passion and everything that's gone into the brand. And I've recommended this whiskey to a lot of people, and I've not a single person has come back to me with bad feedback. They all love it, and it's a daily drinker for every person that has kind of bought into that suggestion. So it's just like this kind of bright, expressive. It's very like sugary and like orchard fruit, like that peachy on the nose, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of like a fruit bomb to me, honestly. I love it. Very like honey-ish and honeycomb. It's just delicious. In the summers it's on ice all the time. In the winters it's not on ice, but it's going down my throat. Yeah, exactly. There it is. I don't know where my bottle is, or else I would be drinking it right now.
I'm only holding it up because of the YouTube viewer that might watch.
Oh
this
yeah, that's right. We're recording video now on YouTube. Wow, look at you guys. You guys gonna lift your shirts up and show me your JJ Corry tattoos next? Or
I would get one. I'd seriously get that logo tattooed on me.
Yeah, I believe it. Oh, look at that. I do have the story somewhere, like the sample of the story. I should be drinking that. That was the one that Sean felt like making his whiskey blend of the year, even though nobody's ever had it or heard of it or seen it, or
the only one in Canada.
Yeah, here's my whiskey of the year. Too bad none of you can ever
and my
get
peacock tail exploded.
Oh, your colors were vibrant that day. They were just beautiful. Yeah, if I was a female peacock, look out. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's my choice. I think that if you're starting an Irish whiskey collection or wanting to get into the genre, yeah, you got to get that, because it even like shows the capability of like what they call as a bonder, right? Which is like a blender kind of thing, an independent bottling blender. So it's a really, really cool expression.
I remember when we talked to Louise, I even said, like, this to me it's like the epitome of Irish whiskey, the taste. It's what Irish whiskey tastes like. If you want just one bottle to taste what Irish whiskey should taste like, that has it in spades.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
Question though, just honest question. It's let's say an $80 bottle. It says 60% malt, 40% grain. So it's obviously a blend of grain. What makes it an $89? What is it about it that makes it an $80 bottle? Just a serious question.
It's hella good.
Yeah, it's besides the fact that it's great. With the batch 2 that was released in Alberta, there was actually you could find the age statement of all the different barrels.
Yeah.
And there was like 27-year-old sherry single malt in there from Bushmills. So that's cool. I mean that alone would push the price up.
Oh yeah. No, that's why I'm asking. I'm not asking saying it's too expensive. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you can go online and find the actual age of the grains that they use, the cask types. But I mean, Louise said she probably has 2 of the most expensive barrels of whiskey in her warehouse in all of Ireland. And like, that's insane.
Yeah. It's Travis, so it's 40% 9-year-old grain in a bourbon cask, 30% 17-year-old. So 30% of it is a 17-year-old malt, like single malt whiskey. 26% is a 13-year-old malt in a bourbon cask, and 4% of it is a 28-year-old sherry cask malt.
So what a cool blend. What a
$80
significant blend.
$80 might be not expensive enough.
No, considering it's a small batch product as well. Yeah. It's right, like those are significant percentages. Obviously some really good whiskey.
If you go on YouTube, I think they've released videos of them actually doing some of their blends, and they use what look like buckets, like little like ice cream pails, when they're pouring out the casks and stuff. Like, it's the coolest thing. They use forklifts to turn their casks. Like, small scale, but such attention to detail. And when she launched the story with the American Facebook Irish whiskey group, she walked through the warehouse and like every cask has a flavor written on it. So they know what, like a banana or caramel or whatever. So when they're making up these blends, they know the different parcels of the warehouse to pick from. And it's fascinating watching her do it. And we need to bug her about a Alberta exclusive.
Yeah, we'll get there. Sean, why don't you do the turn here and give us 2 of your 10 Irish whiskeys for a starting collection?
All right. Well, I'm gonna go probably the least expensive bottle that we have, and I will go with the Bushmills Black Bush. We talk about this all the time. The Bushmills Black Bush. This one cost me $32 today. I bought it today. It used to be $28 a year and a half ago. Most of the time, you're finding it for around $40. It's Bushmills triple distilled sherry cask matured. There's like 80% sherry cask in here, so it's for flavor. It's gonna give you more than any of the budget entry-level bottles that you'll find on a shelf. It's classic. It's got the classic styling. It's delicious. You can drink it neat. It also makes delicious cocktails. It's good year-round. It's an all-around just beauty of a bottle, and you can't really get much better bang for your buck. So if it's one bottle to start a collection with, that's probably where I would get people to. And there's lots of people that overlook it because of where it sits on the shelf and the price point. And then through us talking about it and posting about it, people have tried it, and they're like, why did I not try this before? And it stands out. So that would be my pick number 1. And then I'm going to go a little off the board for pick 2. I'm going to go back to Kincaid 4 Killbeggan. And I'm going to go with the Connemara, the peated Irish, as it has been known. Nowadays, there's a lot more peated Irish coming out, but this was the one that, Irish peat people talk about. It's not heavily peated at all. It's not going to, scare people away with the smoke. It's still got that essence of Irish apple heavy butter tart or butter cookie. It's delicious. It's easy drinking. It's got that little touch of smoke on it. So if you've never had peat and you want to try it, this would be a perfect bottle to get into. And if you want to kind of see where the history of Irish whiskey, it used to all be peated, and now it's coming back full circle, and a lot more new companies are going to be peating their Irish whiskey as well. So this is the one.
Turfing their Irish whiskey.
Turf. I was going to say we should maybe call it turfed.
Yeah. They should call it turfed malt.
I'm pretty sure though that this is sourced Scottish malt for the.
Oh, so that's
Connemara.
peated. That's not turfed.
Yeah, so it's not really Irish. Start again.
But it is a really good bottle.
It is. Yeah.
And if you ever come across the 12-year age statement Connemara, grab that. I don't care. I'll buy it off you if you don't want to have it on your shelf. The 12 years is unreal.
We'll definitely keep my eyes peeled for that. I don't have the Connemara. That's one of the ones on the list I don't have. So
it's so good.
Yeah. I will be looking out for it. And your pick before Black Bush, I tell a lot of people now, that's just one to. First time I drank the Black Bush, I was just like, wow, this is a $38 bottle. I was very impressed.
There's some stigma surrounding Jameson though, right? Being like all Jameson is just Jameson.
You mean
like most? Well, you just associate it with the shot in the bar or whatever, right? That like how often do people speak about Jameson 18? Jameson 18 is a legit decent buy for what it is, kind of thing, right?
I just tried that the other day, actually, the Jameson 18.
Yeah, it's a good whiskey, but it's not talked about amongst enthusiasts. And
Anyone.
then if you go to the average whiskey drinker, you tell them anything Jameson, that's the first place your head goes to is that what's in the shot glass at the bar, right? Because you're ordering 2 shots of Jameson.
It's
Or at
$4
least that's
Jameson.
what I did. Yeah, exactly. So there's that stigma that kind of lies there. But that being said, meanwhile, Jameson, whether it be Blackbush or regular Jameson or whatever, is the most sold Irish whiskey in the world. So they're doing something right.
Yeah.
They're getting people drunk.
Remember when we were looking at quantities of products sold in the market for Irish whiskey, and the Jameson
was,
numbers are just
we had
charts.
Somebody in the industry send us like a list of the most sold Irish whiskeys in the market, and it was like
by volume.
It was in volume. There was literally
Yeah.
Jameson was like, let's just say up on a scale, like 1,000 cases of Jameson. The next guy down was like 100 cases. Like that was the spread between
I believe
what
it.
Jameson sold and what the next guy sold. It was crazy. I had no idea, but it was crazy.
But if you think about it, have you ever gone into a liquor store or a bar and not seen Jameson?
No,
Yeah,
exactly. And that's
And it touches the
tremendous.
whole world. Like I know on Instagram, I follow like the Jameson ambassador for like fucking Nigeria or something, like somewhere in Africa. And so, it touches like the whole world. And so you're going to see volumes that you can't compete with anyone else, right?
Well, they fill a spot in the market. There's no knock in what they do.
No, not at all.
No, if
Steve,
you want to
what
get
do
your
you-
night started, like I said, 2 shots of Jameson at Squires in 2002, 2003. That's like, I would walk into Squires and be like, 2 shots of JMO. And then and then my night was set.
You go upstairs to the billiard lounge.
I didn't start going to the billiard lounge until I was a little bit older.
We didn't ever play pool. We just went there.
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
kind of play pool. Just we would reserve a pool table so that we had a place to stand around.
Nice. Nice.
Anyways, who's next, Travis?
No, we're going back bottom up.
Oh,
So
we're
it's
doing like
you-
draft style. Fantasy
Yeah, it's like
draft
a
style.
snake draft.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go a top shelf option. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that okay with you guys?
Every collection needs some top shelf whiskey.
Well,
You
then
do
that's
you,
what I
man.
figured. Like we're trying to get people started in Irish whiskey, and I just don't think that you can have an Irish whiskey collection without having something like Bushmills 21 around. If it was 2017, I would say Barry Crockett, but that's much more expensive now than it used to be. I think Bushmills 21, honestly, is one of the best values out there. I don't know what it's going to do in price now because it seems like everything's going up in price, but you could buy a bottle for like $150 at one point. I don't know. That was only like a year or two ago, wasn't it, Sean? Like I haven't really looked lately, but it's probably it's around 200.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
like
I-
99.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm pretty
places.
sure the last place I saw it was they even had it for less. It was like 189. So I mean, 21 years, it's under $200.
Single malt, Madeira cask, like
It's good. It is
great.
good drinking, really good drinking.
yeah.
So I'll put my peacock feathers down. If Sean, you want to name something else?
Oh, me. Yeah.
Well, doesn't it go back to you now?
Yeah.
Are you paying
realize-
attention?
No, not really. But yes. So the next Irish whiskey on my list is the other Irish whiskey that really pulled me in, which is Teeling single grain Irish whiskey. This one's clocking in at 46%, non-chill filtered, and wine cask finished. It doesn't specify what type of wine. It just says it's wine cask. My particular bottle is from 2017. I got a reserve bottle from 2018. But it is really just an excellent expression of a single grain Irish whiskey, and I know we've kind of there's been some chatter recently, mostly with Mr. Kincaid and his Cambus Crusade, but those really highly aged Scottish single grains, and then which are great, but then you come in with a no age statement single grain Irish whiskey, put in some really, really good casks.
Yeah.
You give it non-chill filter, you give it 46%, and you've got a really good bottle coming in at prices kind of range on this one, but like $70 to $85. And for a single grain whiskey, this bottle got me stoked on Irish whiskey and single grain whiskeys at the same time. So I think it's a great place to get into Irish whiskey.
Good pick. I like that. Is this single grain again? It goes back to all the different options out there for Irish whiskey, and how many times you talk to someone and they say, "Oh, I really like Irish whiskey. It's smooth. They triple distill it," and then you're like, they have no idea. I mean, and again, yeah, this is part of the like a single grain Irish finished in aged in wine casks. There's so much variety, and it's like the two stacks guys were saying. That's actually a positive if you take advantage of it in the Irish world, is that there's more options for some of this stuff like pot still. So I'm going to go to round the turn of the snake draft here and snag this one, because this is a whiskey, as you can see, I've been going through it pretty quick lately. It's the Tyrconnel 10-year sherry cask. So I'll start by reading the bottle. It says finished in sherry casks, 46% alcohol. I love the label. It's got like a couple horses running on it. Comes in a nice tin can, which they've switched to a box, I believe. Is that right, Sean?
It's just not all metal anymore. They use the cardboard round tin instead of the all metal one.
Yeah.
I got one more of the tin just as a little, I tucked it away in the cabinet. I probably won't crack that for a while.
Irish memento.
Little memento for one day. I did a little research. So it's made at Cooley, but it's owned by Killbeggan. Something like that. Yeah, this is where a lot
There's a theme here.
Yeah, some confusing stuff comes up. It's almost like Killbeggan and that whole, and Cooley, it's like they're Loch Lomond in Scotland. Like they own a bunch of different brands. They're making a bunch of different styles. So this is single malt, twice distilled. Both of my picks were twice distilled. So it's sherry finished. They said it's in bourbon casks for 10 years. And then they finish it for an additional 6 to 8 months in Oloroso. So it's closing in on 11-year-old whiskey, and just absolutely delicious stuff. Borderline sherry bomb, which is weird for a finished sherry whiskey, but there's a ton of sherry influence, but it's not a sherry bomb. I poured it side by side with Bunnahabhain 12 the other day, and I wanted more of this over the Bunna. A little bit more expensive.
Yeah, that is a hot shots fired.
Oh, and it wasn't me. This is where I get, because people say, "Oh, you don't like Bunna 12." I'm like, no, I quite enjoy Bunna 12, which is saying a lot about this specific whiskey. It's now going to be only about $10 more than Bunna 12, which is at about $90. This is about $100. But I enjoy it. It's really, really good stuff, and definitely should be on people's shelves. And it's pretty readily available. Sometimes a store might only have the port finish, but the sherry finish is usually in most whiskey shops.
How's the port finish?
I haven't had the port finish.
The port finish is good. I like the sherry a little bit more. I'm not a huge port whiskey fan, but the sherry finish is just a little stronger, I find. But I mean, that bottle, the reason that we drink it, I'm not taking full credit for it, but my wife bought it for me for Christmas last year on a whim. It's a hilarious story. I won't get into it, but anyways, I got it for Christmas, and just because of the sherry influence, I started sampling it out to people, and I sent it up to Josh, and he's like, literally opened the sample and messaged me, and he's like, "Go get me a bottle of this right now." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem."
And Trav obviously followed suit, and I'm on my second bottle of it. It's damn good whiskey.
Well, it's not the Irish whiskey profile. This is twice distilled single malt. So like this isn't pot still, this isn't triple distilled. This is pretty much Scotch aged and made in Ireland is what it is. So, right up my alley.
See, I got a small beef with that.
Ooh.
I think
Should we cue the grind the malt?
no, it's not a grinded malt. But like I really like, I am a big fan of Irish whiskey, and their single malts are great, but I think they really shine in single pot still, and they really shine in their single grains, because their single malts are good, but like you said, it's basically like a double distilled single malt. It's like a Scotch. Like it's not a whole lot different. It's a good whiskey, but it's not unique. You know what I mean? So that's why I really, when it comes to Irish whiskey, I go towards something that either contains pot still or is a single pot still,
Something
or
more
there's
traditionally
single
Irish.
grain. Yeah, because that to me like defines kind of what Irish whiskey is and why I'm attracted to it versus a Scotch where I can just go get a Scotch.
So Sean just pulled my whiskey from the list. So this episode is called 9 Whiskeys You Should Start Your Irish Whiskey Collection With.
Yeah, sorry, Sean, we didn't run these by you before the episode started. But next thing you'll be shitting all over Lafroig Sherry like Travis does.
We won't get into
Listen,
that.
No.
Canadian distilleries shouldn't use the word Glen or any mention of island or whiskey or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Where are we? Where do we go
Two
next?
spots left, I think.
Like we're
Now
back
it's
to
just-
Mr. Kincaid.
Yeah, Sean just owns the rest of this podcast.
I'm just gonna go two at once because they come from the same place, and to me,
Tell us how you really feel about this distillery, though.
Yeah, tell us, just really give into it, because it's late in the evening now, and I want you to just give her.
Yeah, just pull the bung on Midleton.
All right. First, I'll introduce the whiskey. So I have the Yellow Spot 12-year Irish whiskey. It's single pot still and 3 cask maturation: bourbon, sherry, and Malaga. I kind of picked all the spots. I just grabbed that one. The green spots are obviously way more available. They are perfectly apt to fit on any shelf for an Irish whiskey, especially if you want that pot still essence.
Yeah.
And then the last one is probably the most popular single pot still in the world, and it's Redbreast 12. It's just good. It's good whiskey. I'm not going to denounce that it's not good. I think my beef with them, and first I'll give them all the respect in the world, they single-handedly saved Irish whiskey. Yes.
That was solid.
Midleton saved Irish whiskey. At one point, they were the only distillery in the country still producing whiskey. So, all hats off to them for that. My biggest beef with them is they overcask the spirit that they produce, and it's great spirit, but everything that they release is heavy cask influence. It goes back to the Killbeggan single pot still, where to me that stands out as single pot still because it's just putting ex-bourbon barrels, whereas Yellow Spot, bourbon, sherry, Malaga. Redbreast is heavily sherried. I'm not saying it's not good whiskey. It is. I clearly own a bottle of almost all of the Midleton stuff. But Steve, when we were talking about the Barry Crockett, to me, that is the epitome of the high end of what Irish whiskey can get to. And it's single pot still. It's just blended from different casks in their warehouse. And it's almost all virgin oak or ex-bourbon. And to me, that shines a lot brighter than dumping a fresh sherry barrel with pot still in it. Again, it's not bad whiskey by any means. It definitely deserves a place on people's shelves. Redbreast 12, you'll find that comes up more in discussions about, essential Irish whiskeys than most others. And funny enough, I bought this bottle in BC because it's cheaper in BC, which that doesn't happen very often.
I'm gonna step in here for a sec because, first of all, your big beef with them is just that they use a little too many casks. It's not that big of a deal, Sean.
Well, I have other beefs with them as a company.
Wait. Let's cue the malt grinding, because we haven't ground a malt. We haven't ground a malt in
All day.
quite a while.
All day. That's
All
right.
day. There's been episodes all day, and I feel like Sean's hair is. I think that the sides of Sean's head the hair's falling out because he hasn't ground a malt in a while. So
So who's grinding the malt?
Cue the music.
Cued.
Sean, tell us what you really think about Midleton. I won't say this again.
All right. My biggest beef with Midleton is the way that they sell their product. You used to be able to find it on shelves all the time. And in Canada, it's getting rarer and rarer to find it. The 12 cast strength Redbreast comes up all the time. And it's probably some recency bias as it just came out in Canada for the first time since 2019. And people love to claim that that's, it's just like 1,000 steps up on everything else. But to me, like, it's good. It's not great. My biggest beef might not even be with Midleton. It might be with their reps in Canada who just completely restructured. They blew Sean and I off a week and a half before.
They blew you and Sean.
Whoa.
They completely left us out in the cold, and they turned their backs on us a week and a half
For a charity tasting.
Before a huge charity tasting after promising us the world.
They've never been engaging though.
And who stepped up though, Kincaid? We'd give him a shout out right now.
Bushmills and David Herman and Sons.
Yeah, David Herman's and Sons, that's right.
Davey Herms. Yeah.
They're the two brands that stepped up last minute and had no issue at all giving us a couple extra bottles of their brands to put in the tasting. So it was sad because it was probably the biggest Irish tasting that Canada's seen, and we had no single pot still. Which
that's a pedestal you just put yourself on.
I've been told.
Soapbox.
Some people
it was
say
huge, though. It was huge.
Some people say the world.
The world.
No one's disputing the claim, so we're taking it.
Yeah, exactly. If my flag's planted on the peak, it doesn't matter if anybody else's is. But no, it was sad for us because we both wanted some single pot still representation in an Irish tasting, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. And maybe that's the malt I have to grind the most. But no, I mean, yeah, it's single pot still. It's popular. It's known because it has the highest distribution and the most money behind it. But to me, it's not the best. It's not even the best single pot still. So maybe a fairly tame malt to grind, but
well, I'm gonna fire you up here a little bit, and I'm gonna call you out a little bit.
Fire it up.
Do it.
Because here, I'm going back to the whole cask part of it.
Irish whiskey sucks.
You are Steve and I have been out here trying to tell everyone about bourbon casks and how you love sherry cask stuff. You love sherry influenced whiskeys, but now you're calling them out for using sherry casks. That's the part I don't get.
And I'm not calling them out for using sherry casks. I'm calling out the fact that they stand on this pedestal themselves, saying that they are the epitome of pot still Irish whiskey when they're not, and not in my eyes. Like if you want to show people what a pot still Irish whiskey is, then put it in a refill cask. Put it in something that's not going to have a ton of influence on it. Put it in ex-bourbon that has been used a few times.
Don't cover up the essence of the pot still with a cask.
To me, as a huge pot still fan, you're taking away from the pot still essence in all their whiskeys because they over cask it and use so many different casks. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. My favorite Redbreast is the Lestau because it's heavily sherried.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it fits my palate, but it's not. There's other
You're
newer.
not buying that to find the.
No, I'm not buying that
trying to pick
to
the pot still character
taste.
out of it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's a fair.
that's fair.
That's
so
yeah.
on their,
That's a,
so
valid.
Yeah,
they should be
what you're
standing up
saying is-
we're an okay pot still whiskey maker.
And it kind of goes back to exactly what you and Steve were, fighting the ex-bourbon cask fight for, is you want the distillate to stand out. And I agree, like that tasting that you did with Single Cask Nation, it blew me away. Those whiskeys blew me away. It's not something that I would have ever gone and picked out off the shelf, any of those. But I've picked up the T-Nit because
that thing's a game changer though.
Yeah, how do you say that? How do you say that properly?
Tianinic.
I still don't know because you're talking at the same time.
Tianinic.
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 Tianinic. Yeah.
Tianinic.
There's two N's.
Yeah, actually, I think it's Gaelic and it's like Talonic.
It's like Tyrconnel. Yeah, it depends on where you
Depends
are
on
in
who
the
you
world.
talk to.
What dialect? Depends on your dialect.
Yes, Edmonton dialect is just
Regional
like
dialect.
Tianinic. Tianinic. Yeah.
And this is where, so you're the way you just described that, Sean, clears you off. You're off the hook completely because that makes sense to me, right? But and this is what I talk to people about sherry bombs, and the big thing about like people are like, look at the color on this whiskey, and I'm like, well, yeah, you're gonna taste it. It's gonna taste like sherry. And essentially what you're saying is you're not gonna taste the pot still. You're gonna taste the wine cast and the sherry cast, and
For sure.
we go back to this over and over. And this Bushmills Causeway that would have been on our list if it wasn't a limited. The cognac's there, but it doesn't overpower the whiskey. It's a nice subtle sort of contribution. But I think if you're just going to continually buy those whiskeys that are just overpowered by casks, you might as well just buy some like less expensive whiskey and toss some sherry in it at some point, because you're really missing out on the whole fun of this, which is each of these distilleries are creating some unique, extremely different profiles, and you are losing those profiles as soon as you dump them in a first fill sherry cask for 10 years, right?
Oh, for sure. And it's like, what from a distillery's perspective, it's like, what are you most proud of? Are you most proud of the cask you're buying, or are you most proud of the distillate that you're making?
Exactly.
It's like, show me that you're proud of the distillate. That's honestly one of the things that bugs me. I love Edredor because they make some crazy sherry bombs and some sludgy oil like sherry bombs. But at the same time,
Sludge.
they have some incredible, like just the Edredor 10-year, right? Which is obviously not just the bourbon cask and that. It's like their distillate, their spirit is amazingly like clean and like, I don't know, fruity floral. Like it's a beautiful spirit, but a lot of their releases, they cask the shit out of it. Right. And it's just, I just don't like, I understand one-offs here and there, but what are you proud of? You're just proud of the cask that you're buying, because anybody can buy those casks. I'm sorry. Right. Like if you want to taste sherry, there's plenty of avenues you can go down if you just want to have a sherry and whiskey, because that's like Glendalough. A lot of that is just sherry and whiskey. Honestly, they're just complete takeovers, cask takeovers. It's like, I don't want that in an everyday drinker. I don't.
Weird. Glendalough does the same thing now. Weird.
Well,
Here's a hot take. I am not into sherry bombs.
Whoa. Is there an eject button on this Zoom, or
You just ejected it? But see, like there's
Man,
sherry,
it's not my thing.
sherry
that's cool. I like that. I appreciate that.
There's sherry whiskeys that, like the Blair Athol from Single Cask Nation, that was a refill sherry cask. It wasn't a sherry bomb, and the sherry just kind of complemented the spirit. The sherry bourbon from Boulder, it's very similar. It's like the sherry's there, but you can still taste that Boulder whiskey.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear it from you, Sean, because I was, starting to think that you were just another one of these sherry heads, and you really proved yourself wrong.
Like, what a guy, hey?
What a guy. I was starting to think you knew nothing about whiskey, Sean.
Well, I'm glad that that one statement has really hairpinned you around here.
I was talking about Sean Kincaid.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
but you too.
Well, that too, him too.
But like, even if you look at like the Dunvilles PX, like it's finished in PX, but I mean, we've had whiskeys that have been finished in PX and all you can taste is PX. And that, to me, that distillate stands out in those, in the 10-year and the 12-year. And
oh no,
We lost Sean there.
right when he was about to say something really,
He was like
just really groundbreaking.
It was going to be
groundbreaking statement.
It was for sure. This was like YouTube moment. I think.
Yeah. Well, we could still put this part on YouTube where he goes silent.
Definitely, we can.
We could just talk about him a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Welcome.
it's funny because I freeze, I'm sure, and you guys don't freeze for me, so I have no idea. You're just like,
You can just hear. You can just see us being like, "What? Where did you go? Oh crap!" Yeah,
I don't know where it cut out, but yeah, the Dunvilles PX. You're tasting Irish whiskey, and it's just enhanced a little bit with the cask that they
yeah. They're
use.
complementary casks, right? Instead of just
Did
casting.
was it was Jason Johnstone yelling with Single Cast Nation, part of the launch tasting, and he said I think he said they've bottled 1 or 2 sherry bombs in the history of the company. And he goes, I don't mind a sherry bomb. He goes, but when I crack that bottle, the dram I have at the very beginning is going to be the exact same dram I have at the very end. He said, that bottle's not evolving. That bottle's not changing. It's a sherry bomb. I know what I'm getting. He goes, when I crack, a second fill cask or whatever it is, he said, I know that bottle is going to evolve as it goes. And it's just the complexity. And for them, distillery character and texture are 2 of the biggest things they look for in a whiskey.
Texture, man.
Yeah. You're missing distillery character immediately. Anyways, a bit of a tangent on cask, but I think it tied in nicely with the grinding of malts.
I think that might also tie us into the honorable mention list.
Ooh.
Which we might as well just hand off to Sean.
No, you guys can definitely speak to some, but I'm going to piggyback on your single grain, and I'm going to go with, honestly, this is one of the first Irish whiskeys that I bought that I had no idea what it was. It's the Glendalough double barrel. And this is a single grain aged first in bourbon barrels and finished in Oloroso. And literally the only reason I bought this is because I went to the Glendalough monastery, and it's one of the coolest places in Ireland that I went to, and I bought it for that reason. And now I own pretty much every release that's reasonably priced that has come out in Alberta because I love the stuff. And this is a single grain, double barrel aged. It's fairly young and it's delicious, and it's $40 ish.
Not even.
I think.
Not even.
Yeah, I think you can find it at 35 sometimes, but yeah, when I bought it, I think I got it for $30, and that was a while ago. But yeah, it's amazing, and it shows again what single grain Irish whiskey put into, not completely overused barrels, but into fairly decent barrels, what it can come out to. And it's chocolatey. It's got a little bit of spice to it, and I mean, Glendalough also has their single pot still that they released, and they finished it in Irish oak from trees that were cut down around the distillery.
That's a cool bottle. That's a really cool bottle.
Are they for their grain whiskey at is it, what do you say, is it I want to say Glendalough. Okay, I call it Glendalough, but are they using column stills for their grain whiskey, or are they using pot stills? Do you know?
I'm not totally sure. I know that they're fairly young. So like the 13-year-olds that we have, that's sourced.
Yeah.
This one might actually be sourced. I know they are producing their own now.
It's probably sourced, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
guessing column stills.
Sure.
I'm sure it's column stills. And just the reason I ask is because single grains usually in Scotland, they're they're aged quite a bit longer. They're usually not released young, because they're just a little bit harsh because they're coming off the column stills. But obviously they're doing something different.
They also use like third fill casks for a lot of those too, right? So they're not using as fresh casks in Scotland for a grain whiskey.
Totally. Well, I know who was that company recently, and I think they released like a 6-year single grain from Scotland, and it was in one of those quarter casks or whatever. It was like a Girvan 6-year-old, and it was because they put it in octave cask. Duncan Taylor octave.
Duncan Taylor.
I have it's a 12-year that I have Duncan Taylor Girvan in octave.
Yeah. So
I have that bottle. Yeah.
Obviously the cask with a young grain whiskey has to be a big part of the picture.
Well, it's got to like you think of bourbon, like the bourbon world, right? They're basically grain whiskeys. But they use fresh barrels, freshly charred new oak barrels, right? So they get far more far more flavor and expression out of those.
So here's one for you with this Glendalough. It says right on there, aged for 3 years in bourbon barrels and finished in Oloroso, 42%, and it says right on there, non-chill filtered. So I'll reach out to them. I know, no, I don't think so. Maybe
no, there isn't. There's no way.
But I actually want to get the. I think he's like the world ambassador, or maybe he's part of the distillery team from Glendalough. I want to get him on the podcast. He's hard to track down.
Does he know that you're doing a better job than he is
of selling his product?
Ambassador.
I tried to get Kincaid a job. Well, not a job, actually, a volunteer position, ambassadoring for Bushmills today. I don't know. Yeah, because we were talking to Jared, and he was like, "Oh, what about a Western Canadian ambassador?" I was like, "I bet you Kincaid will do it for free. All you have to do is give him a business card."
He's already doing it for free.
Yeah,
exactly.
I even bother.
You don't have to give him a business card.
Give me a jacket.
Just a jacket and a hat
for some swag.
As we wrap up, and a few more honorable mentions, but obviously, Steve and I cannot not talk about just Two Stacks, the Dram in a can, because you can get it and throw it in your shelf for $30. The guys who make the stuff actually said, $25, 25 probably, depending on the shop.
Or just buy one. So you can buy one lots of
buy one for
don't just buy one.
Well,
that's silly.
Yeah. Barriers to entry, you could just buy one.
Maybe if you're walking like, I don't know, to the bar.
Home.
To work. But to you the Two Stacks guys said they actually just I think it was Liam said he keeps these in his fridge. He just pulls them out of his fridge and drinks them
like
cold.
Beers.
Like a beer, basically. But they are coming in a bottle format here fairly soon. It's going to be about a $65 bottle, and it's a 5-part blend. They think it's the only blend of this type ever made in Irish whiskey. So it's, I think it's something that people will, once they start drinking these more and more, will want to have on their cabinet. We didn't put it in the top 10 because Steve and I don't want to over promote our stuff. We like to be
humble,
a little humble about it.
We know that we have a better Irish whiskey than anything else, but we didn't want to, come out and say that. But.
So honorable mention to Dram in a Can, which will be, what do they call it? First cut. Two Stacks first cut will be the bottle.
Yeah, there'll be first cut and then the blender's cut, which is the cast strength version.
Right. Any other honorable mentions?
If you want to go way top shelf, like my favorite Irish whiskey of all time is the Barry Crockett from Midleton. It's like, I don't know, banana cream pie in the mouth with a little bit of like tobacco almost.
Wow, that sounds really good.
It's so good. Good.
If you want true single pot still, that's the one right there. I think the newest versions use, I think, up to 28-year-old whiskey in the blend that they put in there.
Damn.
Should we wrap this up with a Sean Irish, your all-time favorite Irish whiskey for a unicorn?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, let's do some Irish unicorns.
Or can we just give Sean 30 seconds to just name as many Irish whiskeys as he possibly can without stopping talking.
It's like one of those like name pin chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Like the Bubba Gump where he names all the things you could make with shrimp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's definitely do a unicorn session. I think we should roll the music on that.
Unicorn.
Sean, name up. I expect a few unicorns from you, Mr. Kincaid.
I'll go last. I'll let you guys go.
Oh,
I know
okay.
Sean McCalder's got one sitting behind him. I know that.
Sean McCalder, let's hear it.
I
He pulled it out earlier.
Oh, he pulled it out.
He whipped it out for Jared earlier.
Whoa.
Oh,
What is
it's
it?
actually beside me, not behind me. But yeah, I do have a unicorn in my possession.
Oh,
And
Which is the
his unicorn
Bushmills.
cost him $38.
well, yeah, we don't like you for that.
Yeah, I found this at just a garbage liquor store, which should never have had this bottle, but it's Bushmills single cask, single malt, specially selected for Canada, mellowed in a single sherry hogshead, bottled at 53.7%, distilled in 1989. And I believe it's about 14 to 16 years old.
Yeah, I've heard 15 to 17, something like that.
Yeah, but there is no age statement.
16
on
to
it.
18. 17 to 19.
Yeah, somewhere in that. It's a teen. It's a teen.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is, but I have never opened it because
It's good. I've tried it. It's good. Very good.
I bought it for $38 and I immediately messaged Kinky. I was like, do you know what this is? He's like, you need to go back there right now. So I turned my car around and I drove back. It's like, hey, do you have any more of these? And they're like, nah, we'll order some. I was like, no, you won't. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. No, sorry, pal.
But that's a unicorn, and I'm gonna say that Redbreast 27 that I know is in our market, but far too expensive for me to ever buy or
You've never
probably
tried
try. No.
And you're naming it a unicorn.
Well, I look like you. I want to try it.
The unicorn should be something you've never tried because you've never seen a unicorn.
Yeah, it's mythical
guess.
creature.
Technical.
I've never rode a unicorn, so I want
Yeah,
to.
with a horn, you know. Or, anyways, whatever. Okay, fine. I guess I'll stick with my Bushmills model.
I tried to show my kids The Last Unicorn on DVD, and those. Have you guys ever heard of that movie? And there's a movie called The Last Unicorn. I'll lend you the DVD if you still have a DVD player.
Was it made by the same person that produced The Labyrinth, or?
Yeah, it's like
that,
along those lines. It's a cartoon, and there's these red flaming bulls that scared my kids. So
Bulls.
Bulls.
Okay.
Bulls.
Don't show your kids flaming balls.
Bit of a tangent. My dad always had unicorns around the house. He always used to convince us that unicorns were like protective creatures. So growing up, I had a unicorn in my bedroom. Like, this is the fact we have a segment about it now is quite special to me.
That's a beautiful story.
My Scotch cabinet,
such an emotional attachment to unicorns.
every time the song plays, a tear comes to my eye. I don't have a unicorn. I honestly, I've never spent more than $100 on a bottle of Irish whiskey. So you
don't spend more than $100 on those bottles. Never mind Irish whiskey.
And you guys don't share your expensive stuff with me. So my unicorn is going to be hopefully getting a cask of something maturing at Killowen. I would love to get a PWS Killowen cask. I saw some cool stuff on a video. They had I don't even want to say it because I don't want to get excited, but I would love to see a Killowen. I mean, they put out such little amount of liquid. I would love to see something with our names on it. And at some point, that's my unicorn, something I've never seen, but would love to.
So let me get this straight. You're allowed to have a unicorn of something that doesn't even exist, but I'm not allowed to have a unicorn of a bottle I have never tried.
I was defending you. I actually defended you, Sean.
I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page here.
I
with
defended
the
you.
rules of
Nobody's
applying
on the same
unicorn
page.
status.
Nobody's on the same page.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Okay.
I defended you and said, no one's ever seen a unicorn we should pick whiskeys we've never tasted.
You picked one you've never even seen.
Doesn't even exist. Like
Doesn't even exist.
From now on for the segment, we just make up a whiskey.
My unicorn's at Bushmills 73 year.
There's going to be a Bushmills 80 year tasting that we're all
81 just to top the Scots. 81 years.
Yeah, they've been making whiskey longer than anyone, so they've got to have some in it in an old cask, you would think.
Yeah, it's an Amrut 25. There's nothing left in the cask. You just scrape the barrel and just
sludge. The sherry.
Eat the little
barrel
piece of
sludge.
char. You're just like, char. Oh,
Sorry, off topic.
probably woke my kids up laughing so hard.
Should probably let these other two guys go.
Yeah,
Unicorn.
All right, Steve.
I had a unicorn in mind. I can't even remember it.
Just make something up.
I'm gonna say there was a bottle that I've tried. Let's put that on the record. I've had this before. I know that Sean Kincaid owns it. I wish I would have bought it. And it's a single cast nation 13-year Cooley.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a unicorn for me, because I would like to somehow, I wish I walked by it at Whiskey Drop like so many times, and I was like, I should just buy that. That's cool. I should buy it. And I never did. And now I wish I really would have.
Whiskey Drop and Sherbrooke carried it, I believe.
Sherbrooke did
Two
too?
shops. Sherbrooke had some of the single cast. I think
Is it
Graham may have-
Shearbrook?
Sherbrooke. The new one's called Sherbrooke. The original location's Sherbrooke.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
they just added an E to the new one.
Okay, that's good to know.
But I remember I have tasted that, and that is so it couldn't be a unicorn for me, but it's really good.
Well, it can't be a unicorn for you because it's real.
It's actually conceptual cask. Yes.
Oh,
It's like, what's your favorite animal? Oh, it's a liger.
Hey, what's your spirit animal? That's okay.
Yeah.
It can be that.
Yeah, I love that you asked Garrett what his spirit animal was, and he called a red fox.
Yeah. That's perfect.
He didn't even hesitaate though.
no,
he
no,
didn't. He
zero.
just embraced the ginger right away. I love it. Yeah. Anyway,
All right,
Oh,
Kincaid.
John Kincaid, can you just spit out a unicorn already?
I don't know. Like, there's tons. Like, obviously, the Midleton Very Rare, the very first one that they ever released.
Yeah.
That's a unicorn. The Dare Galash, whatever the fuck it's called.
10-year
first-
10-year Dunvilles PX.
Well, yeah, that's a unicorn that we'll never see again. But the Dare Galash, the Irish Oak, Tree 1, Batch 1, we actually have those still on.
Tree one?
Yeah, it's the very first one that they did with Irish Oak. So
Oh, okay, gotcha.
there's still some on shelves in Alberta. I keep my eye on them very
You don't
closely.
own them all?
No, they're expensive.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, speaking with the guys earlier, Irish turfed malt. I can't wait to taste something that's done with Irish
Some turf.
turf.
Yeah, turf malt. What about the Glendalough 13-year Mizunera?
I have it.
But is it not a unicorn? It's not worthy of a unicorn? Maybe
It's too real.
Is it a Pegasus?
Too real. He has.
Or is
I
it
think
just a
it's 'cause you
really
can-
nice horse?
Yeah, it's like
Stallion.
a roan color horse.
Clydesdale or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because it's still available. You can still buy it. There are some like Glendalough 27, 17-year-olds that are insane. But yeah, I don't know. I'd probably go with something really, really old from Bushmills. Like that, the 400th anniversary one was a big unicorn for me until I got the bottle, or what was left of the bottle. So
Yeah.
no, I don't know. Like the Irish turf kind of intrigues me a lot for the future, for something that doesn't exist in Travis's category.
Irish turf.
Just made up unicorns.
I mean, so you're going to criticize me. You just named every expensive Irish whiskey on the top of your cabinet. Like, how's that a unicorn segment? You just named all the whiskeys you own that are over $300.
I don't own any of those except for that 1608, which was given to me.
So what were you looking at up there the whole
You
time?
own the 10-year.
Just analyzing his life as he looks off into the distance.
He's got a picture of a sunset up there.
Yeah, I have a picture of Ireland above my cabinet.
Yeah.
Going around from anyways,
Trying to
let's
surround himself and
we should probably shut this down. It was supposed to be a short episode.
If we want to talk about unicorns that don't exist yet, a JJ Corry, either Lost in Dramslation or PWS or Alberta exclusive, that would be something that I would, and sounds like it would be fairly feasible to do. So
I'm going to send this clip to Louise directly.
Perfect. Do it.
Yeah.
You can sell at least 4 to 12 bottles each.
We'd sell the crap out of that. If anybody can sell
yeah.
whiskey, it's the guys in this room right here.
And if it's Irish whiskey, hello. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to say I probably sold more JJ Corry in Alberta than the reps did, but I don't want to get in trouble.
I think our pot, like
it's too late now.
Our JJ Corry, just the beginning, like to start the year when we did the podcast, and after that, like I think we're personally responsible for all their success here. Just saying.
And we had it in the first Irish invasion too. We had the Yale in that one.
Yeah.
We really pushed that product.
So
it's okay to take a little credit for.
I think so.
Some grassroots product pushing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
they're good. It's a good product.
Yeah.
I mean, once the word got out, like there was people like Whiskey Neighbor John, he did it on his channel, and it blew him away. And I was like, that's the reaction that a lot of people have, because they don't know what it is, because it's bonded whiskey, which is
it's a foreign term.
Yeah, exactly. But
the JJ Corry, the story would be a unicorn if you wanted to name your 14th unicorn.
Again, it's sitting on my shelf. I can't name it if it's sitting on my shelf.
Well, I named a unicorn that's sitting on my shelf.
I did.
There are no rules. There are no rules.
Clearly,
0.
I'm gonna go with this.
Before we wrap this up, is it? What's that? Sorry.
Bushmills Blackbush is my next unicorn.
Is there any Sean, any whiskey news like from Ireland that's significant enough right now?
Well, a future guest that we will be talking to, Fionan, he basically we had to push this episode because he's doing his schooling still. But he did the ancient mash bills, and the Two Stacks guys mentioned it, and that's super cool. Found a bunch of old recipes for mash bills from the 1800s and before, and then partnered with Boan Distillery, and they produced them as close to as real as they were, and then matured them and tasted them, and that's cool. A lot of talk, I'm sure, again, same episode that we'll be talking to Brendan from Killowen. There's a big push there to in Ireland to kind of change or reformat the whiskey rules to allow some of the older ancient or whatever historic ways that they made whiskey. Because right now, like the Killbeggan Irish, that was supposed to be released as a single pot still, but because there was 30% of a third grain, the Irish Whiskey Association said nope. So there's a big push, especially from a lot of these little startup craft distilleries that want to do things the old way and use the old methods. So that'll be super interesting for to see if that comes through. Obviously, there's that around the world. There's a lot of push for rules to come in. But yeah, just the fact that we read about it today. In the U.S., Irish whiskey will take over. Scotch is the highest selling whiskey category in the U.S. within a year or two. That's huge.
That's massive. Is it the highest export category?
It must be.
Yeah, because bourbon.
Yeah, not higher.
Yeah.
No.
No.
but like of an imported product. Yeah. So
I think it was was it compared to Scotch? Like it was going to pass Scotch. Wasn't that it?
yeah. That's what it's,
That's
so
That's huge. That's massive.
that hasn't had that. The last time Irish outsold Scotch in the U.S. was pre-prohibition.
Pre-prohibition. Yeah.
And that's when Irish whiskey was still like the number one whiskey in the world. So things come full circle, I guess. It just shows that the renaissance in Irish whiskey is happening. It's going to keep happening. So yeah, I was shocked. I was actually shocked when I read that, but it's cool. I like it.
They don't, for the record, they don't measure their whiskey at a bar in the US. So when you order a Jameson shot, they pour you like 3 ounces. So
Really? They don't measure it?
No,
oh God, it's like when you order, I don't know, like the last time I was in New York, you just order like a baker's bourbon.
Yeah.
And they don't just like measure an ounce. They grab a small glass and they just pour you half a glass, and it's $10, and then you go on your merry way, kind of thing. Like it's
so
drinking
like
in the
here
US
when
is
you
no
get,
joke.
like, when
Consumption is cool. In the US.
Yeah, you don't get like almost an ounce here.
Yeah, here you get they short pour a 1 ounce shot glass and then put it in a bigger glass, and it looks like you barely have anything in your glass at all.
Yeah, yeah.
We tried the pub crawl down the 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica with some friends of ours. Like, we'll hit up every bar along. It's like a 3 mile long.
That's a great
pedestrian only. Yeah. And so we're like, the 3rd bar we stopped at, you're just fucking trashed.
Oh yeah, it's next level. You got to be careful. It's crazy, insane. Anyways, let's part the glass here and end this episode.
Just as we're parting ways, I Googled news for Ireland, and they have not won any Winter Olympic medals.
Oh,
surprise.
So yeah, no medals for Ireland yet, but maybe by the time this podcast airs,
too
they'll
bad.
have one. Yeah.
Well, we'll be cheering.
Even have a team?
I didn't even look into that, Sean. They just have no medals.
They just
Okay.
have no medals.
Okay.
Well, if they're
on the medal table, we got a team. Even if it's 0.
Well,
you
I
would
didn't
think
see their name on the medal table.
Oh, okay.
too many dram in a cans before the events, probably. But so this month, like you guys, I guess everyone's going to hear from who are we hearing from? We're hearing from Jared Bowler with Bushmills. We interviewed the 2 Stacks guys, and then we've got Brendan from Killowen and Fiona, who's an Irish whiskey sensei. Irish whiskey sensei, is that what we would call him, basically?
I have no idea.
Sensei, he's doing a thesis on it, is he not, Sean?
He's like the authority when it comes to
I was gonna say the go-to
Irish whiskey.
authority.
The authority. That sounds good.
Yeah. So it's going to be an exciting month, the podcast. I think it's going to be a fun March.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a basically Irish whiskey, like everything. We're going to talk about history. We could be there. We could be talking for 7 hours. We don't know how long it'll go, but it's going to be long.
I even
Prepare yourself.
I even booked St. Patrick's Day off this year with my holidays, so I will be home.
I booked a day off on holidays just to record podcasts.
Wow.
I don't know.
You think about like St. Patty's Day, like if you think about the announcement that was made with restrictions being lifted on March 1st, St. Patty's Day is the first celebration holiday kind of thing after it. It could get out of hand. There's going to be a lot of people
very easily.
There are going to be a lot of people eager to like socialize themselves, and it could be very fun. I think
my wife
managed take that day off.
Yeah, my wife managed an Irish bar back when there was no anything. It was just a regular St. Patrick's Day, and those got out of hand almost every year. So you can just imagine how this one's going to play out.
I'm off work too, Sean. So
should we all just dress up as leprechauns? Is that Irish racism? I don't know.
I think that might not be okay.
No, okay. Let's all dress up like ourselves, and then we'll just go have fun.
We should all cut our hair like Kincaid and just. Just walk around talking about
Thanks.
bottles that
Yeah.
It's a good head of hair though. Like, I mean, it's almost a shame he's cutting so much off around other than the top.
I have to get it
That's-
thinned out every time I get it cut.
Look how thick
Oh,
that
poor
is.
you. Okay. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody. Cheers.
That's our parting glass.
Yeah, that's our party
Yes,
glass. Yeah. I have to thin my hair out. Okay, yeah, whatever. Good night.
yeah, fuck you.
Gonna go drink some unicorns.